Welcome again to coding. We'll pick up where we left off last time. So I've got my Kafka file here open. Again, if you end up with a really cluttered panel over here, the simplest thing always is to go to Open Folder, then navigate to your web folder and click Open. Mine's already open, so I'll cancel that. That way you just see the files relevant to your project you're working on. So we saw last time how to split the screen into two panels. They can be horizontal or vertical. So on the top is my HTML, and the bottom is my style sheet. And again, we'll just preview that quickly. There it is. Okay. And again, some of that blue stuff just shows up when you have your cursor in somewhere on your page. It tries to highlight it for you. So that's where we're at, and let's take a look at where we want to go with this in the next couple sessions so we can wrap that up. So I've got the next version that I've made changes to, and we just want to take a look at this, kind of preview it, and we'll see where we're headed with the things we're going to work on now. So you can see a little more styling. We've added some images, and we've broken our text up into a few parts. This is still one document that scrolls, and we've added this sticky menu bar. So when it gets up to the top, it sticks or stays put, and then we can navigate. We've added some internal links, and when we click on part 3, it goes to part 3. There seems to be a glitch in my Chrome for some reason today, but normally it works. And so I click on part 2. For some reason I have to click twice, but we'll work on that. So it's an internal link as opposed to linking to a separate page. It's just saying to link to a different part of this page. When we do, it goes to the top, or it would if Chrome was not misbehaving. So you can see we've got some bigger type here. We've added some little images here and these various headings. So let's take a look at how we do that. So the first thing is we'll look at back to our version 3 page, and we want to add some things into the structure here. And rather than just type a lot of this stuff so you don't have to watch me type, I'm just going to go to my other file and copy and paste a few things. So first thing I'm going to do is get my nav. So you don't have this, but you will shortly. Okay. So after our header, we want to enter this little section. So this is going to be our navigation, and we've given it a class here of sticky, and then we've entered some hrefs that start with a hashtag and then the name of the parts. So the wrapper is the wrapper up here, so ID equal wrapper. And then we've got a part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4. So you want to type this in right after your header. And then we're going to insert the spacers. So those are going to be, go down here and find one. Okay. So each spacer, and copy that, and then go back over here, turn, paste. So each place we want the spacer and a headline, we're going to insert this. So you'll type this in. So it's a div, it's going to have a class of spacer. It's also going to have an ID, and we're putting in an ID because that's what we use to make these links up here. So notice when I type ID, I don't use the hashtag. Up here I didn't type ID, so I need the hashtag. It's kind of similar with the style sheet. We'll look at that in a minute. So we want to put these spacer and part things in. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm just going to pick a few places here to insert more of them. And since this doesn't really have real parts, we're kind of making it up. It doesn't matter too much where I put them. And that's going to be part 2. And then I need to update this as well. So part 2. And I'll scroll down a little further. And we'll put... And it doesn't do the best job of figuring out where to put the indents. So we'll fix it up a little bit. So this will be part 3. And part 3. And I'll do one more. And I'll put it down. Well, actually, it does better if I didn't do that first tab. And this is going to be part 4. 4. Part 4. And we're not doing anything with our styles at the moment, so we'll save that. All right. So in this section, we've added the nav, so make sure you've got that in there. Then we put in our part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4. The spacer div doesn't have any attributes yet, so it's not really going to do much. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. And I'll do a save as, and I'm going to call it I'm going to call it 4A because we're going to keep going with it, and I already have a 4. You don't have that yet, but we'll call it 4A, and I'm going to save that. And before we proceed, I'll just preview it. So right now, it's just put these in as generic links. We haven't done any styling on them yet, but we can see I've got my part 1, part 3, part 4, and if I click on these, again, for some reason I have to click twice, but we'll worry about that later. So the links are working. Notice it jumps all the way to the top. It brings that right up to the top, and that's why we're going to use this spacer to push it down a little bit, because if you remember the previous version, when I have these sticky menus, they're covering up this part of the screen, so if this goes all the way up to the top, we won't be able to see it. So that's one of the functions of this spacer. All right, so again, make sure I just save all to be safe. Okay, in the next section, we're going to put a little styling on the things we just added. And so stay tuned.